Right, there's two last jobs of the build. The first is to build the roof rack for the solar panel, and the last is to finish the electrics, almost a third fix on the electrics. So I'm going to keep you up to date with those as the project unfolds, because I figure they might be useful. The roof rack's quite straightforward. I've already got aluminium right angle bolted through. It was one of the first things I did, was remove the fixing points up on the roof there and bolt through aluminium angle, ready for this day. Worth considering if you're starting your build. Obviously there's some things that you can't go back to. You could in theory do riv nut mounting if you'd forgotten to do that initially, but always better to use the factory mounting points. And now I've got some flat aluminium bar out there on the garden table, and some 30-30 aluminium profile, which is already drilled, ready to receive M8 bolts, and I'm just figuring out how to measure that when the brackets are already up on the roof. Got to ensure that it will take the panel, which is down here, and also not interfere with what's already up on the roof. Let me show you. I know, I need a Williams ladder. There's my wiring already through. That was another thing I had to do early days, obviously, but there you see the right angle brackets. The bar is going to mount on the outside, keep it really tidy, and have countersunk Allen key bolts through with nylock nuts on the inside. Same on the other side. And obviously it's got to be placed so that when I do fit the second skylight at the front there, it'll still work with the solar panel mounts. I need to give the roof a clean first. Okay, the next thing is to attach my lovely solar panel to the cross member. To attach the panel to the aluminium profile, I've still got a bag left over of slot-in nuts from my last build, the Volt build. These are amazing. They're M8. They slide into the track and then you can bolt through to them. And I also have in my box of leftover bolts, etc., M8 round topped bolts that will sit nicely into the framework of the solar panel from behind and be tightened with an Allen key in that recess I've got. So it's coming together at the moment. I haven't had to spend any more money, which is a relief. Pretty flush, but the space underneath with the modified Allen key hoops to reach them to tighten them when they're up. Okay, let's get this up on the roof and have a look. Okay, first test fitting. It's pretty windy up here. where to drill pilot holes for the end of the aluminium profile. Right, this is the slightly tricky bit. Drilling the pilot holes. I've got the left hand side one and the right hand side one. The right angle brackets are different lengths, so I just need to make sure I drill my pilot holes correctly on different sides, and then I've marked with masking tape on the other side of these where the cross members need to have pilot holes drilled. The left hand side cross member mounts to the bottom. It's 30-30. So where's my tape measure? So left hand side front, which means that this is the bottom. Put my pen. Where have I put my pen? So it's got to come up 3 centimetres off the bottom for that, whereas the right hand side front mounts to the top. So there's a little bit more fiddly measuring before I start drilling. So let me concentrate on that and then I'll come back to you. The only other slight complexity to mention is that the left hand side is going to have bolts with nylocks, because you won't see the bolt heads because they're going to be behind the awning. The right hand side I'm going to flush mount M10 countersunk Allen key bolts with nylocks. So I'm going to try and chamfer my drill cuts when they're done with my trusty old, whatever it is, bit, massive thing that's been worth every penny of the 30 quid or something I paid for it over the years. So yeah, just thought I'd add that. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a meter. So it's a meter to these points, and that's a 1.5 up, which represents half the width of the 30-30 on the right hand side. Got that right? That definitely is right. And this is the left hand side, and it's on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and drill these bits which you now can't see. These sections, which are where the brackets are, I don't really need to measure that up. I'm going to drill these and use them as a pilot hole before I get up on the roof with the drill, and then finish drilling through the right angle bracket. I figure that's the easiest thing to do. Okay, drill time. Almost impossible to film while I'm up here, but you can see I've got the aluminium flat edge just sat there on the side. It's going to sit on the other side of the brackets, not the inside, it'll sit on the outside when it's drilled. And the solar panel with the 30-30 going right across from flat alley to flat alley. That's exactly what I wanted. It's sitting flush and it mounts to the top of the alley on the right hand side and the bottom on the left, which is fine because they're obviously not symmetrical, the awning's in the way, so I could mount it square. I think I've got it far enough forward to allow space for the mounting of a second sunroof when I can afford it, but I can obviously re-drill the holes through the side alley should I need to. They're not in the way of either of the right angle brackets that are mounted to the roof, so that's worked out okay. I seem to have measured correctly. So I'm just going to get up, well actually all I need is a tape measure now, and then I can drill my pilot holes through the flat alley and come back up and mount it all. Nice. So there we go. Didn't film it all, ran out of time in the end and had to do quite a lot of tweaking to get it to work, but the roof rack is on, bolted through the right angle channel into the original mount points in the van roof. Nuts on the inside, is that right? Or maybe the nuts on the outside, I can't remember. There is a kink in the side rail there, which is a bit of a disappointment, but it's basically because I didn't cut slots, I just drilled holes, so I need to re-drill the front mounting points on that side to slide the whole thing forward by, I don't know, half a centimetre or something. But anyway, it's ready to be connected and it's solid. There is a bit of movement. I might put some strengthening brackets in the front there, high posty, if I mount a light bar on the front rail, but it's doing exactly what it should do, and that solar panel's not going to go anywhere because it's bolted through, and it's lovely and low profile. I do like that. And I've also put in some slot nuts ready for decking potentially, which will go to that bar and come back to this bar and then go across. So it'll really only be for lashing outdoor equipment onto a very small roof rack if needs be, but it's there if I want it. The space at the front is for another skylight. If I put a second one of these in at the front, it should fit in that space fine. So yeah, very happy and glad that's out the way. As for the electrics, well, I did do some cable management, but I had to pull some of the cable ties off to chase some more wires, so it's still looking a bit of a mess in here. I've now only got the one lithium 100 amp hour lithium battery in here. I did have another one in the cupboard next door, an AGM, so 2 AGMs. But this is the equivalent really. You can drain it much more than you can an AGM, so decent upgrade. This is all PCE kit. I think I've described it before. That's the 12 volt distribution, that's the 240 volt and solar RCD, and that's the 240 volt management and battery charger. So the way it works is there's a relay on the 12 volt distribution that's connected to the van battery, and as soon as the alternator kicks out more than 13.4 volts, it charges the ledge battery as well. And of course I've now also got the solar wired up and working well, so it was a good system for our first weekend away. There are a few niggling problems, like for example that main 12 volt distribution panel is controlled by this switch, and anything that's connected through this, and it's various appliances. I've got 3 different 12 volt circuits in the van, but the majority of them come through this, and even if this is on, when you start driving, the relay detects the extra voltage and will shut down anything that's connected via that switch. So that includes things like overhead lighting and under counter lighting, but also annoyingly things like USB sockets in the fridge. So I need to do some rewiring to make sure that in both those instances they have power all the time. So a bit more fiddling. The other thing I've got to do is the auxiliary switches there on the dash. The wire, I know the wiring is good to the switches because I've got the sub, the scene lights on the left hand side, and what else? The rear view camera, all connected via them. But for some reason the right hand side scene lights and the rear scene lights aren't working, and I think they're a single cable run all the way to the roof through the land, so the dodgy connection's got to be between the switches. I think there's a connection somewhere in behind the A-pillar there, and the connection on the roof, on the top of the roof. So it's just a faff because I'm parked against the side of the house. I'll have to move the car, move the van forward, get in under there, take the A-pillar cover off and just start testing. It's okay, just one of those jobs. Alright, that's it. We've had a weekend away, as I said, and all worked fine. It's a good system. I'd recommend CBE, despite its slight quirks. Nearly there. Let's give you a quick walk round. Starting the back, outdoor shower, hot and cold. And there is a little light under there, but a sort of porch light when you come in, if you're coming in through the back door. Space to stow the step. The Murphy bed, that's the big single for me when I'm travelling on my own. And the rest of the bedding is stored in there. Two big cupboards. I'm yet to put the door latches on. Next to that, big wardrobe with a rail and a shelf. Got to put some lighting in there. Bins underneath, massive, in fact probably too big, rubbish and recycling bins. They're on drawer runners that come out because behind there is my electrical gubbins, which is yet to be tidied, and there's just a blank panel under there because one of the batteries is stored on that side. Opposite that there's the cooker, gas, drawer below. This might end up being a step to get onto the big single bed at night because it's a bit of a hike up at the moment. Storage below, already moving in some bits and bobs for camping. Sink's next to that. The fillet that I cut out fits very snugly into the top. It's got a pull-out tap with adjustable nozzle setting thingamajigs. Underneath is just storage for cloths. One drawer with a light. Soft close. Oh, it's not closed, is it? There we go. Big drawer. Oh, where's the light? Oh no. Dodgy switch. Soft close-ish. And this is the gas bottle cupboard and space for more pots and pans. A bit more wiring in there. Opposite that is shower. Two lights, one for mood, one for doing your whatnot. I need to put a mirror in here still. This is the sink. It comes down and just sits on a little latch that comes out there to hold it in place, hot and cold, and it drains as you flip it back up. I need to find a blind for the window, just in case you're in here. When you've got that down, you'll be able to see in from the outside. Needs a bit of tidying up in here, but it's getting ship shape. Some hooks went in today. And a really good retracting sliding door that sort of self-drains when you close it. Overhead lockers on this side. I'm just measuring up to get some storage for glasses and cups and what have you. 2-burner hob on this side. In fact, that should be working. Plumb this in. There we go. Only plumbed this in yesterday and haven't tested it since. Oh, this is the step for the double bed. So the single bed goes across the back, and then there's a fill to go in the middle. So for when the two of us are in here, we sleep front to back, well, back to front, and to get up onto the bed, you need to step up on that. What else? Oh yeah, okay, fridge. This is the pièce de résistance, really. It's a lovely big Dometic, and it opens to the inside, of course, as you need it to cook, but also to the outside for beers. Love that. And just to make use of all of the space above it, tell me this works, it is a pop-out drawer. So if you've run out of countertop, like if the bed's down, and there's space to put what have you on that, should you need to. Soft toes. Dinette at the front. This slides forward and then flips out across to make a big single for Lola. Need to unplug the multicolour LEDs that are under the seat before you do so. Down here you've got more storage. Not much more storage, to be honest. And then this is a hatch for the diesel for the hot water and blown air, central heating, and it's on a little dial there, a gauge that tells me how full it is. Don't know if I trust that. I'm sure it's not that full. Look, it's dipped down again. So yeah, in theory. That's it. Cab's the same. I need to do some wiring. Everything else at the back is ready to go now, really. I've had a shower in it. I need to cook my dinner in it, make a cup of tea. Know the heating works. Got to stop the fridge, go for a drive, see if the batteries last, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, very pleased. So we're out on our first weekend away in the van. Bit of a triumph really after, what was it, 3 years? 3 years of the build. We didn't get far, but deliberately we're just at a pub called the World's End at Patching, about half an hour along the coast. But had a very nice peaceful night, no one else to disturb us. I'm just away with Archie and Lola and Teddy, and we're heading off towards the New Forest and then on down to Swanage in the Isle of Purbeck. How was your first night?
Good.
We're waking up. I don't even know what the pub's called. The World's End.
Yeah.
World's End at Patching. First
So
night.
Archie's bed.
Yeah. Archie has decided
Hello.
to camp out under the main bed in den, which has worked really well. The cushions fit perfectly, and look who's up here.
But Teddy didn't sleep there.
How was your first night?
But Teddy didn't sleep.
No, Teddy slept with Lola in the front.
No, he slept on it.
We just had toast for the first time in the grill, which now smells very hot. And we're getting ready slowly to go to the New Forest and Swanage, Isle of Purbeck. There's the pub. Nice and quiet and a lovely dinner. Ready for a quick crossing on the boat, Lola?
Yeah.
Ready, Arch?
Yeah.
Ready, Teds?
Just watch the sign.
Shoppy. That's him, I think. We've made it to Woody Hyde on the Isle of Purbeck, pitched up amongst just a handful of other vans, but we do have the awning, the table and chairs out, and the kids are entertaining the dog. Here it comes.